Well, first of all, welcome to Off the Record, and just so everyone knows who are you? Give me a little introduction.
Thank you for having me. My name is Veeti, and I'm the singer of the Free Carmen.
You guys are a pretty fresh name out in the music scene here, and just to introduce Free Carmen to the world, can you tell me a bit about your band origin story? You know, how did you meet, decide to become a band, come up with your name, that sort of thing?
Well, I was actually desperately looking for people to play with because I had written a lot of songs, and then I found Onni and Roope by accident from the army when I was a couple of years back when I was doing my mandatory service. So I found them there, and we decided to go for it.
I heard Arttu Viskari met his, I don't know if they still work together, but his original songwriter when they were in the in the military.
Yeah, that
as
might
well,
be true.
so
Yeah.
maybe that's a good place to meet bandmates. So how'd you come up with the band name, and does it have any special meaning to you guys?
Well, it's just, I think that's the most hardest thing to come up with the band name, and that was just a long process of brainstorming and
Just try something till it feels right.
yeah.
Fair enough. Always curious in this day and age of technology and algorithms and AI, like, what is it that really made you want to make art?
Well, I just think I have some kind of need to create, and yeah, that's kind of my therapy, and I have to do it, and that's why we do it.
Yeah, that it makes sense. So who are some of your influences then? And on the flip side of that, is there anyone that you really love that might come as a surprise?
Well, my definitely favorite band is Pearl Jam.
Okay.
And Tom Petty and Neil Young and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if I have any surprises in my bucket, but maybe the one that surprises most people is Billie Eilish. I really like her debut album really much, and but nothing too out of the box.
Not like, like Elastinen is your secret favorite artist or something like that. So no like secret guilty pleasures out there, or
no, I think there's no such thing as guilty pleasure. I think there's only pleasure.
Yeah, fair enough. I think for me a guilty pleasure in this day and age is sort of like if maybe the artist has gotten a reputation for being an asshole or in some way, shape, or form, and then you still listen to them, maybe that's a guilty pleasure. But I
that's true. Yeah.
I agree otherwise. So let's get into these albums a little bit then. So for anyone who hasn't heard about them, how would you describe them?
Well, it's a double album, and the basic idea is that it takes you through one calendar year, so it's a full circle. The idea is that if you listen them back to back, it's like a full circle. Yeah.
I love that. And sorry, I should have probably introduced them. They're Solstice I and Solstice II, right? And so I like that idea, and I think that was a really gutsy move kind of to release your albums on the solstices, which are kind of legendarily not the best times of year.
Yeah.
You know, one is the dark of winter, everyone's wrapping up the 2025 recaps and stuff. Nobody wants to be putting out new music on the end of the year, and
and listening to only Christmas songs, and and the summer solstice here is Juhannus, which is a
big party
and everyone's on the festivals and that kind of thing. But that's art.
Yeah, and I think I respect that you chose to go with that anyways, instead of doing what's more marketable or pandering to the scene that's not even that nice to artists anyways. So I think that's really respectable.
Thank you.
So on that note, how did the releases go? Like, do you feel like they got any listens or attention despite the times of year?
I think we managed it quite well, and we had release gigs at the both days, and there was a lot of people at both gigs, and it went well. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, always glad to hear that. There's a mixed bag in Finland. Will people come out in the winter at least?
Yeah, and there's always people who don't like to hear the Christmas songs during Christmas. So
that's true. I'm one of them.
Yeah.
So I heard that most of the production from the album was done outside of Finland. So do you guys travel with your album when that happens, or do you just send it off and wait for?
We traveled to London actually twice.
Cool.
to mix it. We recorded it here in Finland, but mixed in London and mastered in Liverpool.
Oh, incredible! Yeah. Had you been there before?
Yeah, but not for work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it an interesting experience to go over there and see how it's done?
It was, and that's why we wanted to do it that way, and do it with Mikko Gordon, who mixed it. He's actually half Finnish.
Okay.
And he's got quite an CV already, and yeah, that was interesting.
Incredible. Well, your press releases mentioned the themes on the album involve sort of mental restlessness and finding the balance between the kind of external world and your internal world. So, do you have any thoughts you want to share on that subject, or is that more something where you've shared your thoughts, that's the album, so now you can let other people hear it and come up with their own ideas?
Yeah, maybe that's the thing, that you have to make your own conclusions about it.
Fair enough. But with that in mind, considering these themes, how did you tie those in with the solstices and the rotation of the year and that sort of thing?
Well, I think it's been interesting to follow. I've been living in Finland my whole life. It's interesting when the winter comes and the darkness and everyone stays inside and gets all moody, and when the summer starts, everyone's outside and happy and smiling, and maybe that's the reason why I got the idea, and that's the whole point. Yeah.
So would you say that Solstice I starts in January, or does it start at a different part of the year?
Solstice I starts from the summer solstice.
Okay. So it begins there.
Yeah.
All right.
It begins there, and then Solstice II starts from the winter solstice.
Okay.
And ends near the summer solstice. Yeah.
Okay. Incredible. I like that.
Yeah.
So you have kind of like you start actually at the peak of like the warm part of the year, and then you move to the peak of the dark part of the year.
Yeah. That's correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And then so you're sort of following the moods that people go through.
Yep.
So you start at a high point and then go down, and then you start at the low point and go up.
Yep, that's right.
Perfect. I like that, and I think, not having lived in Finland my whole life, it's very interesting to come here because I'm from Canada. It's still pretty dark, but difference of maybe like in southern Finland at least, you still have some daylight, as we can see right now, but in Canada, I'd say maybe at the darkest time of year, there's still 2 more hours of daylight where I'm from. So it's interesting to see that difference in how, like, really people shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's maybe just because Canada's bigger and, you can go out to the mountains and do sports or things like that. But it's really interesting how kind of cozy and quiet Finland gets. And not even antisocial per se. It's just people don't want to go out. They want to stay in.
Yeah, I don't know if you catch the news, but last December we had, in the first 9 days, we had something like 6 minutes of sunshine.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy. So I think there's some reason behind why people are so.
So in one of your press releases, there was just this mention of this feeling that vintage instruments have songs inside them, and I really thought that was great because, I don't know if you get the vibe from your surroundings right now, but I am a little bit of a hippie. So I do have, I'm not like a full Buddhist or anything, but I do kind of believe that things have a life force to them in some way or something. And it made me think of my old violin that I have sitting in this corner here, that it's a lovely thing. It has a really unique sound because the strings, every other violin I've played, the strings are further from the neck.
Yeah.
And so it has this kind of softness to playing it that gives a little different resonance from any other violin. And I've never been able to play another violin since I got this one. So I love that idea. And I've heard also, the guitar nerds talking about how a different wood will have a different resonance. And it makes me almost think like, okay, what tree did that instrument's wood paneling come from, or that sort of thing. Tell me a little bit more your thoughts on that. And I can't remember, was that actually your quote or one of your bandmates?
Yeah, it was my quote. I think there's songs in the instruments, and each instrument inspires you to play differently. For example, because I play guitar, and if you have a big guitar, you play it differently, or small, or if the neck feels different, or of the action between the strings and the neck is high, like your violin, then it might be a bit harder, and you play. It might become in some ways uglier, but that's maybe sometimes that's the best thing. Yeah. But I think there's, especially in older instruments and acoustic instruments, especially, have some songs in them. It's all kind of this magical diva-daba, but yeah. But I still think it's true.
Yeah, I love that idea, and I'm sure if I'd spent enough time outside in nature, I'd get weird about it if I spent too long. Have you noticed any, let's say, like similarities to, let's say, like a guitar with rosewood writes these kinds of songs, or that sort of thing?
Well, not maybe. I'm not that far with my theory, but it's different it's different sound if you have a rosewood fretboard or a maple, or that's true, but I don't know. It's more of a just different, but it's not like specific if you have this kind of wood or something. But
so not like a rosewood guitar only writes indie.
Yeah.
Maple only writes heavy metal or something.
Yeah, nothing like that.
Well, I'm a big fan of little nuances in music, like someone closing a book or cat jumping on a piano and including that for some reason. Like these little details that listeners don't necessarily notice, but they add to the overall atmosphere. So do you play with anything like that, or do anything like that with your songs?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of so-called field recordings in our albums, from the forest and the lake and usual, but maybe the most obvious one is in Sail Away, which is a song from the Solstice II album. There's this kind of, I don't know what it's called, but in Tampere, I think in Helsinki too, there's this kind of alarm test during Mondays at 12 o'clock. And this goes back like 5 years or something, when I was doing the first demo of Sail Away, and I was recording it, and I had my window open, and the alarm went off, and there's a woo sound, and we used that on the album also. We took that recording and put it there.
I love that. Have you ever done that sort of thing? I knew a psytrance artist at one point who would just take his phone with him everywhere he went, and anytime he heard something interesting, he'd stop and just make a recording of it that he might then made, like, of course he had his sample libraries, but he also had kind of his own sample library of things he just found. Like, I remember one time I went to the zoo and heard this. I didn't know what it was at first. I thought it was a recording, but what it was the female lion was walking around just going like, ooh, 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 and then just making this huge sound that I could hear from the other side of Korkeasaari, and I thought someone was blasting it from a speaker, and it was just the projection of this lion, and I thought, that's so cool. I have to record this and send it to them. So
I have my phone full of that kind of recordings, especially that kind of sound from animals in the forest. But also something stupid like I was just scrolling through them the other day and I found one recording where I was shaking my water bottle. Anything goes, basically.
I love that though, that like anything can really be a part of it if I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, like that you can record anything and then someday you might just click and think like, this is where I need that one weird sound that I recorded 10 years ago or something like
that's
that.
True. Exactly.
Incredible. Do you have any favorite songs? I know that's like, it's like picking between your kids really, but like at the moment, let's say, I know like people tend to cycle through what's the favorite of the moment. So do you have a current favorite that...
From our own songs?
Yeah.
Well, Sail Away has a special place in my heart because it's the first song that I've ever written on my own. But then again, One Step Behind is the first song we ever wrote together with the guys. The Water from the Solstice II album is a really personal song for me. I think those are the top three. If I can say three.
Sure, why not? Yeah. There's no rules here, it's fine.
But it's hard to pick one. Usually when someone asks, what should I listen, I always say One Step Behind. Yeah.
So you've played a couple shows already, right?
Yeah. And
you have another one coming up at the end of this month, was it?
No, next month.
Next month, okay. February 2026.
Yeah.
And do you have any anything that you think defines you guys live so far, or are you still kind of exploring the live field?
I think our thing is that it's just live. There's no backing tracks or no tracks in our ears or nothing like that. It's just us playing, and that is becoming kind of a lost art these days. So that's our thing.
I love that, and yeah, as much as it is really cool to have these like big crazy productions, I've done the journalism thing for over a decade at this point, so I checked my Setlist FM stats and it says I'm darn near close to having seen 1,200 shows at this point.
Nice.
At that point, you've kind of seen it all.
Yeah.
And in 2024, I kind of dropped out of heavy metal and started exploring the Finnish indie scene.
Yeah.
And there's really just something to be said for like a couple of guys with their instruments just having a good time and leaving all the other hoopla behind. I don't know. I started going to see like a dude and his guitar in a bar or something like that, and it was really fun. So I'm starting to really appreciate this kind of old school, stripped back, just this is what we sound like.
Yep.
And if we mess up, then everyone hears it and that's okay. And
and that might be the best part.
Yeah.
Yeah. It leaves room for jamming and mistakes and also some miracles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think one of the best moments in a show I've ever seen was when a guitarist, the band is called Frozen Factory, their guitarist is really phenomenal, but his Bluetooth ran out on his amp, and he couldn't get the cord plugged in quick enough. So he didn't know what to do, so he just grabbed the microphone and started singing his solo into the mic. And, 1,200 shows nearly, I'd never seen something like that. So I hope people don't get nervous about messing up on stage, because that truly brought me more joy than any big Sabaton stage production that I've ever seen. Have you ever seen any shows like that stood out as really inspiring to you? Or
Well, I saw Neil Young in Berlin, and that was crazy one, because he broke his guitar there and all kinds of odd things went on. But yeah, maybe the Neil Young show is the most like, what is happening feeling in my life. Yeah, he's the kind of guy that when you go to see his show, you have absolutely no idea what's coming. It can be anything.
Incredible. I believe that. He seems like that kind of guy. I know there's like probably infinite cool things I could ask about the album, and I barely touched on that. So I'm wondering, is there anything really cool or special or unique that you want to share about the album? Because of course I'm only listening and reading about it. So from you, what do you think is like the coolest part of your album, or is there something cool about it you'd like to share?
What I like about that it's a concept album, but also you can pick out just one song that you like, and it doesn't have to belong into some greater concept, but it's still in the concept.
Yeah.
And there's two instrumental songs that are actually one song that we split up for the both of the albums, and I think that's kind of cool. And if you listen them in the streaming world, you can put them together if you like.
Oh, that's really cool. I like that, and I probably never would have noticed because I listened.
It's song 1 and song 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's very clever. I like that. I need to go listen again, apparently.
Yeah.
All right. Well, to wrap this up, I don't always remember to do this, but I like to when I can. So, most interviews end with, do you have any last words?
Yeah.
And most artists I've ever asked that question to always groan their eyeballs out when they get it. So instead of ending with random last words, if you could make the world a better place with one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would say leave your phones at home and go outside. Yeah, leave your phones like at home for a week and go and have a walk.
Go for a walk, have an adventure.
Yeah, and just breathe.
That's true, and that's great advice. I think I was hearing recently that there's something like 7 different types of rest that you can get. Only one of them is sleeping, and the other 6, or maybe one of them is kind of related to, just chilling out. But the other 5 were all psychological, and doom scrolling and just constantly being on your phone does not relax you and does not de-stress or rest you. So
not at all. Yeah,
I think that's actually really great advice.
Yeah, just last year I went to Norway for a week, and I left my phone here in Finland. That was the best week I ever had. Basically.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Any cool stories from Norway?
Well, wrote some songs there for the album because I didn't have my phone and I didn't have any distractions. Like the water is written in Norway. Maybe that's the cool story related to this subject.
Excellent. I like that. Yeah, I think boredom is the space where creativity comes in, and I think people have forgotten that a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true.
When you have a phone all the time, you're always able to keep yourself from being bored.
Yeah, and do something meaningful or something interesting.
Yeah. Incredible. Well, thanks so much for coming out here.
Thank you for having me.
Talking to me, and thanks so much.
Thank you.